Sage Wanderer here, and welcome to Coffee Talk. So today we're talking about twin telepathy, or was it twintuition, like intuition, but twintuition. That's it. We're going to talk about psychic links today, how two people can be experiencing telepathic messages going back and forth. We're going to look at things like twin talk, the secret language of twins, but we're also going to look at how that can occur in other relationships, in parent-child relationships, in brother-sister relationships that aren't twins, and or brother, sister, whatever, sibling relationships. Look at how even people who have been friends for a very long time can develop a form of twin talk or twintuition. It's a tongue tire, right? Twintuition. But before we get into that, I want to thank all of you who support this channel. This channel is kind of an experimental method for doing a YouTube channel. I only know of one other person who bases their YouTube channel on donations from the viewers alone. And he was forced into that. His name Jamie Deluxe is the only person, and he's kind of new to it. I've been doing this for about 3 years. So I'm a one-man show. I'm just a guy that lives in a cabin out in the woods, and your kind donations support my basic, simple lifestyle. And so if you are inspired, if you are taught anything, if it's just entertaining or interesting, peel a little bit of money off of your budget for entertainment and support of artists and that sort of thing, and hit me up with the donation in the links in the description below. So I kind of got on this topic because I met a pair of twins. I met twin sisters recently, and I found it to be extremely interesting hearing them talk, watching them interact. And it got me thinking about the, what's happening between these two people in their communication. Is there a psychic link? Is there a supernatural element to the relationship between the two sisters? And even though they're not identical twins, they're what they call it, fraternal twins, still they had some of the same characteristics as identical twins. And some of the supernatural seeming telepathic connection was something that was there in their relationship as well. And it got me thinking about the bigger picture. You know, if telepathy is possible between identical twins, if then telepathy to some degree or a psychic link is detectable then in somebody who is a fraternal or non-identical twin, if it's there in some siblings, if it's there in some love relationships, if it's there in some ancient and old friendships, is it possible that we could psychically link with anyone? That if we were able to use mind over matter, if we were able to connect with someone on that level, could you potentially become psychically linked with anyone? So that's kind of the big question. So we'll start with identical twins. I think the identical twin phenomenon is something we're all aware of. It's been covered in documentaries, mainstream media. Twins that finish each other's sentences, twins that make the same decisions, twins that seem to know when the other one's in trouble on some instinctual level, even if they're separated by hundreds or thousands of miles. And in meeting these fraternal twins, it's one of the things I kind of, asked about. And because I was starting to see it, like twin talk is a real thing. They could be talking back and forth with each other, and I'm kind of like the third party in the situation, sitting outside the edge watching this interaction happen. And I'm thinking, am I hard of hearing? Right? Am I, is that what's going on? Like, because I have some hearing loss from years of rock and roll and shooting guns. And is it that I'm misunderstanding them? They're not from Oklahoma originally, so they have a West Coast accent. And am I hearing slang? Because I was clearly not comprehending this very quick-moving conversation between these two women. And that's when it dawned on me. I'm like, that's twin talk. That's their own language. It was phrases and broken sentences and giggles and expressions, and it was incomprehensible by anybody else. But they were clearly communicating on almost a subliminal, method. And so I did ask them a few questions, and I'm not going to talk about what they told me other than to explain that yes, absolutely they're psychically linked, because I think I might have them on the channel in a follow-up video over the next few months. But I need y'all's help if I'm going to start doing interviews, because I'm set up as a one-man operation here, and if I start doing interviews, I'm going to need to get my broken high-dollar camera finally fixed. Lens replacement on that is going to be over $700. It's a tragic story of how that got broke, but yeah, I need that. I probably need to purchase a couple of microphones. So I'm hoping that the money will come in for me to upgrade my operation so I can do more interviews, and I can go and bring interesting people to you on the channel. But it did prompt me to look into this deeper, and I, did some research. One of the craziest stories about identical twins is I saw this story about two little, like, first grade twin sisters, and one of them caught a baseball or something in the eye on one end of the playground, and the other girl was on the other end of the playground and didn't even see it happen. And immediately the girl that got hit with the ball got a black eye, and her eye swelled up and turned black. And the other little girl, who was untouched, comes running to the aid of her sister, and immediately the same eye on her body starts to swell up. Even though she didn't receive an injury, she got a matching black eye. The one little girl got a black eye, and her twin sister got a sympathetic black eye. And this made me recall things in my relationships as well, that when I'm in love with somebody and we're in a committed relationship, I tend to develop that kind of psychic link. When my wife was pregnant with our children, she would get morning sickness, and I would get it too, right? When she went into labor, I could feel the labor pains, right? My sister and I, my sister's appeared on the channel, we have a psychic link. It's not only is it not uncommon, it's commonplace for if I'm going through something and she feels it and she immediately goes into prayer warrior mode for me. There's been many times where I call her the day after some traumatic event, and before I could even tell her about it, she would say, "What was going on with you between 1:30 and 3:30 in the morning?" And I'm like, yeah, my world imploded. Like, something really bad happened. How did you know? She said, I don't know. I just woke up knowing I needed to pray for you. So we've always excused that away as being the Holy Spirit, because we're both prayer warriors. We're both, hooked to, connected to each other via the Holy Spirit, via our relationship with God. But I think there's more to it than that. And it reminds me of a story. I feel like I was psychically linked to my dad, the old Marine. And he had gone away on a business trip, and I knew he wouldn't be home till the next morning, and I couldn't go to sleep. He'd been gone several days, and I couldn't go to sleep. And I thought, well, maybe it's, I'm about, I don't know, 13, 14. Yeah, I'm 14 at this moment. And I just thought, I'm missing my dad or whatever, but I got this sense of dread. I got this incredible, feeling that something was really, really wrong with my dad. Like, he's been hurt, he's been injured, he's been in a wreck, and I was inconsolable. And my mother was like, just calm down, he's fine. It was before cell phones, so we couldn't check on him. He'll be home, sometime before morning. He's traveling through the night. He's fine, don't worry. You're just, the devil's just trying to worry you. And so I couldn't sleep all night. And I finally, in the wee hours of the morning, fell asleep. And then when I heard him come in, I jumped out of bed and I ran in the living room and I hugged his neck and I was like, Dad, are you okay? Are you okay? I was crying. And he goes, son, how did you know? He said, yeah, I'm okay, but something happened. I said, what happened? And you'll find this story interesting. He was driving down I-5 between Salem and Eugene, Oregon. And he came over a hilltop. And if you are familiar with the West Coast, there's a lot of embankments on one side and cliffs on the other. And up on this embankment, up on this rise on the side of the hill, as he's coming down the freeway, he just sees a man step out from behind a tree. And he said, I felt like he was just pointing his finger at me. And then I saw the glass break right between me and him in the windshield. And I realized I'd been shot. And he said, I swerved the car. I almost lost control. He fired 5 more shots as my dad gained control of the car and got on down the highway. But he said, a man tried to kill me last night in a random act of violence. And as it turns out, that person was doing that quite a bit on the West Coast. You can probably look it up. There were some other copycats after that, but he was a serial killer. He was randomly shooting people on the freeway. And my dad was almost killed. We went out and looked the next morning at the windshield, and it must have been a small caliber, probably a 22, because of the guy being up on the embankment, shooting down at an angle, and the slope of the windshield, that the bullet went into the windshield and kind of curved a U-turn and went right back out and didn't penetrate the there's a plastic core sandwiched in a windshield to keep the glass from just cutting you all to pieces if it breaks. It's shatter-free glass, and it's designed to be a safety glass. They call it safety glass. And it didn't penetrate the core of the safety glass. And it was just amazing that he wasn't killed. Like, this guy tried to kill him. He said it would have hit me right in the face if it had gone through the windshield. And somehow I knew that. I knew something bad had happened. And so I have had these experiences myself. And, I've known lots of twins down through my lifetime. When I was a young man, there was fraternal twins, brother and sister, and they had twin talk, and they finished each other's sentences, and they seemed to communicate non-verbally. And, there was one of the most interesting twin experiences that I've had is I met, as a boy, we were friends with a family called the Cruzy brothers, and they were a traveling Christian gospel singing and preaching group. And they came to our church a few times. They briefly had the Cruzy Brothers Hour, a television show, back in the 70s. And what was so unusual about them is it was identical twin brothers that you could not tell apart, married another set of identical twin sisters. And then they had kids with their spouses, and all of their kids were also identical twins. So they each had 3 sets of identical twins. So there were 12 children, but there were only 2 faces amongst these 12 children, right? They each had 3 sets of twins, I think 2 or 3. So there was 8 or 12 children here. And all of the boys looked like the brothers, and all of the girls looked like the mother, and they all looked the same. And the baby pictures of the parents when they were little looked just like the children. And it's just crazy genetics. So what do you think is going on with twins? Is it just twins that have the ability to link to each other psychically? Is it nature or nurture? Well, there's a lot of reason to believe that it's some kind of genetic link that goes beyond just relationship, because there's been reports of this kind of twintuition or twin telepathy in twins that were separated at birth and never met. And they would find that their lives are parallel and that their interests were the same. And I saw a stunning experiment where they just questioned, I think 4 sets of twins, and they just said, randomly pick a color. And the twins all picked the same color, right? Randomly pick a shape, right? They had all kinds of experiments, and it was just almost 90% correlation. Like, they just would write down the same answers. But in the case of ones that are separated at birth, they also have the same kind of link. And when they reunite, it's like they were never separated. It's like they know each other because they know themselves. I think twins are one of the most fascinating topics when it comes to psychic links. But a lot of people think, okay, it's possible with twins, but not with fraternal twins. But my experience is fraternal twins have almost the exact same experiences. And in the course of these 2 ladies that I met, it proved that to me, getting a chance to sit down and talk to them. And they expressed a desire to maybe come on the show. So you may get to meet these people at some point in the future. But also, I can't overlook that I have a psychic connection with my own sister, and that I was psychically linked with my dad. And a lot of people, parents, for instance, they tend to, there's a lot of stories where parents just know something bad happened to their kid, and they became instantly aware of it on some instinctual level. So I think that in the case of twins, it's automatic. The psychic link is pretty much automatic. But I think the psychic link or connecting to somebody on a telepathic, instinctual, intuitive level is potentially something that is a result of relationships as well. Like the couple that lived together for so many years, they develop a form of shorthand speech, twin talk kind of verbiage. And they also can know when the other one is something's wrong going on with them. And I've known people that had long relationships and then it didn't work out, and midlife crisis or whatever after 20 something years, and they get divorced, right? And still they would be like, something's wrong with my ex, like I got to call and check on them, like something. So this ability to connect with other people is something I think that is inherently possible with any humans. That I really believe that before the flood, in the time of the Atlanteans, in the time prior to Noah, that humans had a fairly well developed psychic ability. That these early humans used intuition and telepathy and potentially even telekinesis to navigate their world. And there is a lot of anthropological studies about pre-civilization tribal humans using, pre-language, like that language was developed, but before it was fully developed, this intuition, maybe it's gestures, maybe it's just an understanding, but there was a lot of telepathic, like the way that wolves hunt. In a wolf pack, the alpha doesn't have to yip or make a verbal thing or even a gesture to guide the other wolves in surrounding a prey. They do it on some kind of subconscious telepathic level. So I think that human beings have relied on speech and language, and it's atrophied potentially our ability to engage in telepathy and intuition and connection with other people on some kind of mysterious wireless vibrational level. And once again, coffee talk is for stuff I find interesting but don't necessarily believe. And I don't see how this kind of thing could affect your faith in any way. In fact, it kind of builds mine, because every time I dig into one of these mysteries, I realize how amazing God's creation really is. Like, we're so much better than we realize. We have so much more capabilities than we can comprehend. We are more powerful than we would ever believe. And then you add Christ and the Holy Spirit and your relationship with God to that, and it makes you understand what Paul meant when he said, all things are possible through Christ who strengthens me. And so I find this stuff really just intriguing and interesting. And, but yeah, tell me in the comments section, have you been psychically linked with another person? Have you been able to read their mind? Could you feel them calling to you from across the miles? Were you aware something bad had happened to them before you received the news? And are you a twin? If there's any twins out there, hit me up down there, fraternal or identical, right? If you had that parent-child bond where you knew your kid got hurt at school before the phone rang, right? Share your stories in the comment section. Don't forget to support the channel. It's through your kind donations that I'm able to keep a roof over my head, keep these videos coming your way. And I'm hoping to expand with repairing my camera and maybe getting another microphone or a couple of microphones so that I can do multiple person interviews. And I'm on target for this channel. I'm really ready to double down on it. The last 2.5 years, I've been very distracted by a family I'd adopted, and now they've kind of graduated out of the Sage Wanderer school of parenting, and I had to give them to God and let go of it. So I have all of this time now to really apply myself, and I hope it's showing up in these videos. And if it is, and you want to reward me and show me I'm on the right track, links in the description below, and we'll see you next time on Coffee Talk.